Welcome to The Blitz, a podcast from Coram Deo Church. The Blitz is all about tackling tough topics head-on at full speed. Are you ready? Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of the day it is that you happen to be checking out this podcast. My name is John, lead pastor of Coram Deo Church, and I will be your host again today on The Blitz. Hey, how are you guys doing? It has been a while since I have dropped one of these. In fact, I believe it has been almost 2 months to the day. And the reason for that is heading into the Easter season, things have been crazy. If you go to our church, you know that we have acquired some new office space next door, which is going to open up some space upstairs for balcony in our current building. So we've been working on not just acquiring the space, but getting moved into that space. And then, of course, I am getting away on a sabbatical this summer. And in order to do that, I got to get a lot of stuff done on the front end. And so I have been busy not only planning sermon stuff for the summer, for the pastoral team, but also planning stuff for the fall. I've got Christmas planned out. I have the study guides for the next series in September of 2022. That all stuff, that's all done. It has to be done before I go. So I've been busy with that and just have not had a ton of time. But here we are today. We're back at it, and we are diving in the deep end here. This is the Blitz. It's full speed head on, and that's just kind of how we roll. And so we're just going to go after it today. And what we're talking about is King's Dream and Biden's Nightmare. King's Dream and Biden's Nightmare. And by King's Dream, I mean Martin Luther King Jr., the great civil rights leader in our own history, in the history of our country, used to address clear injustices and to be a corrective voice in many ways. And so not only do we know about him, we also know one of his most famous speeches that was given at the Lincoln Memorial on August 23rd, 1963. And this was given to a crowd that is estimated about 250,000 people. And this is where we have one of the most well-known, most famous lines of his most famous speech. It's where he talks about, "I have a dream." So let me read just one of the sentences from that speech. And of course, you are well acquainted with it. You've heard it. It says, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And what he is arguing for is really something that every Christian should be behind, that we should not be treating people, assessing people's value and their dignity and their worth. We should not be assessing that based on the color of their skin, whether that color be light or that color be dark. That's not what matters. And what he was appealing to was not the color of skin, which, by the way, that is racism, but he's talking about the content of character. So it's not what we look like that matters. It's who we are that matters. And of course, we have to amen that. Yeah, that's true. We're behind that. And wherever people are being treated differently based on the color of the skin, then yeah, we need to be able to call that out. So his dream was that the future for his children and his grandchildren would be a future that was different than what he himself had experienced. He wanted them to live in a world where their skin color did not determine their position, their value, but rather it was the content of their character. Okay, so thumbs up on that. That's all good. Now, you want to fast forward, a couple decades, and here we are in the middle of the Biden regime, and this administration really has been just a disaster. One thing after another, one failure after another. You can't make this stuff up. But I want to go after this one because I believe it is it really is incredibly important. So when Joe Biden was running for the nomination to be the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, he made a promise. And that promise was that if he was elected president, that he would nominate a black woman for the Supreme Court. Okay, so that was a promise he made, and of course, because he made that promise, there's a whole group of people who got behind that and supported him, and of course, that's why he made that promise, because he's looking to secure votes for himself, and so he promised, went on the record at I think it was some rally, it was all over the media, if he becomes the next president of the United States, that he would nominate a black woman for the Supreme Court. Now, there are a lot of people who would congratulate and celebrate an announcement like this, and these are the same people who would consider themselves to be anti-racist. Okay, and I've dealt with anti-racism and Jamar Tisby and some of the ideology in previous episodes here. I won't go into it here, but Joe Biden at that time, candidate Biden was heralded, he was praised, he was celebrated because he promised that he would nominate a black woman for the Supreme Court. And of course, that sounds like it's anti-racist, but here's the thing. It's actually racist. And you're going, how in the world is that racist? Or maybe you already know. When he made this promise, what he said was that the qualifying factor, the thing that was going to set one potential nominee ahead of another, was not the content of their character. It wasn't that. It wasn't even their training, their degree, their experience. Of course, that played into it. But the person whom he would move forward as a candidate would be moved forward because of the color of their skin, that he would nominate a black woman. And so you need to realize that there are hundreds, maybe it's thousands, but let's say it's hundreds of people who are qualified to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States. Clearly, there are hundreds of individuals in a country of, 350 million people or whatever. Clearly, there are hundreds of people who have the education, who have, they have all the credentials that would enable them to serve in that capacity. And out of that group, Biden was going to pick the one with skin that was a particular shade, okay? Now, you have to look at what Martin Luther King Jr. was longing for, where the determining factor would not, in fact, be the color of their skin, but rather the content of the character. And now you have a president who's saying, nope, it's the color of their skin. That's what he's looking for. So you have, that's the first check where you go, gosh, you think about this, like just spend some time, do the mental math. When you select somebody precisely because of the color of their skin, your actions are antithetical to what King Jr. wanted. He didn't want the color of skin to be a determining factor. He wanted character to be a determining factor. Okay, so Martin Luther King Jr. had his dream, and Biden's decision is antithetical to that, but it has collapsed actually on over another issue. Okay, so his nomination, and at this point, Ketanji Brown Jackson was voted on and affirmed, and so she will be added to the Supreme Court. I think the next session is like June or something like that, when the judge that is stepping down when she will replace him. Okay, so the vote has already gone through. She's gone through. She's the next one. Okay. But of course, you know what happened, right? You know what happened because the hearings were public and the videos were available everywhere. So Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's a senator from Tennessee, was asking Jackson some questions, and Jackson was evading the questions, not wanting to give a clear answer. And so she asked her a very straightforward question, and that was, can you provide a definition for the word woman, right? Can you provide a definition for the word woman? And with all the cameras on and everybody looking at her, Judge Jackson, or future Judge Jackson, replied with this, that she did not know what a woman was because she was not a biologist. Okay, so her answer is, I don't know what a woman is. I can't give you an answer for what a woman is because I'm not a biologist. What do you think about that? What do you think about a judge on the highest court in the land going on the record publicly saying, I do not know what a woman is, and I don't know because I'm not a biologist? What do you do with that, right? And so if you were online, and of course, many of you are, I'm sure all of you are, there were a million memes that came out that were just, man, if they weren't true, they would have been absolutely hilarious. Because what do you do with a statement, I don't know what a woman is, I'm not a biologist, okay? Now, after all the fun and stuff, right, after all the silly jokes are made, you have to step back and go, okay, what's going on here? What is going on here? Clearly, she knows what a woman is. And we're not speculating there. She used that word in the hearings multiple times. She employed that word with a assumed meaning, and she assumed the entire audience that she was speaking to knew what she was saying every time she used the word woman. So have no doubt, Ketanji Brown Jackson absolutely knows what a woman is. The problem is not that she is stupid. Okay, that's not the problem. The problem is actually worse than that. The problem is that she was unwilling to publicly say what we all know is true. She was unwilling to publicly acknowledge what she knows is true and what we all know is true, and that is that she does in fact know what a woman is. Now think about what happens when a judge that is sitting on the Supreme Court is unwilling to publicly say and acknowledge what is clearly and plainly true to everybody. What happens when she is unwilling to admit what is plainly true regarding the law? What happens when she is unwilling to say what is plainly true, right, regarding the Constitution? This is actually a bigger problem than her not knowing. She does know, but she is unwilling to say it. She is unwilling to publicly admit what is true. Okay? Now here's the thing. She's clearly lying. She's lying about not knowing what a woman is. And that does not look well for the issue, for what Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for. That was character. He said, character matters, right? Character is what matters. It is not the color of a person's skin. It is their character. What does it say about the character of an individual who is unwilling to admit what they know to be true and what we know to be true? In fact, it's not only that she was unwilling to admit it, because she said she didn't know, right? She's actually lying about what she knows, right? And what that does is it brings up a quote that maybe you've heard. It's Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Listen to this. He says, "We know they're lying. They know they're lying. They know that we know they're lying. We also know that they know that we know they're lying, but they still lie." He was talking about totalitarian communist regimes. That's what he was talking about, and the great evils that were committed by these groups who perpetrated lie after lie after lie after lie. And it wasn't only that they were lying, but everybody knew they were lying, and the people telling the lies knew that everybody knew they were lying, but they still lied anyways. I'm going to say this, and I know that, you're not allowed to say this, but Biden's nomination, the reason for his nomination, and the individual that he nominated is an absolute nightmare when it's lined up against Martin Luther King's dream. This nomination is actually antithetical to King's dream, because what he wanted was a world in which your skin, the color of your skin, didn't go against you and it didn't get you ahead in line. He wanted a world, according to his speech, in which people were assessed by the content of their character. This nomination is antithetical to that dream because of character. And because our president nominated Jackson based precisely, admittedly, on the color of her skin. You guys, we live in a really weird time. And it just keeps getting weirder and weirder. And words have meaning, and words matter. And it's really, really important that we think through things, that we think through words, and we think through the meaning of words, and we think through what actions communicate, right? And because this is what is just absolutely mind-blowing. It's the people who are most vocal about the issue of racism. It's the people who would identify themselves as being anti-racist who are actually supporting racist decisions and actions. Think about that. Does it make any sense to you that a Supreme Court justice doesn't know what a woman is? Do you think that she doesn't know what a woman is, or do you think that she's just lying? And if she's lying, what does that say about her character? Guys, I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to read the quote again from Martin Luther King Jr. "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." The last events, the things that are unfolding before us right now, if nothing else, reveal we have a long way to go. We've got a long way to go because there are powerful political forces that still don't get it. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this time. Hope this was helpful. I know this is a little bit late, and these things have already happened, but it's still important to think through them. So hope that was helpful to you. Thanks for hanging out with me again. And until next time, take care. See ya.